All right, we are live for the first time in a couple weeks now. The
Been a bit.
Mets season started, um, looking pretty good. Going for the first sweep today of the season. Let me just bring this light closer. Uh, we were there yesterday. Had ourselves, as you could tell from my voice, maybe by Zach's, we had ourselves a day.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know if I should be drinking coffee or just keep going with another beer. So we're gonna we're gonna do both at
espresso
once.
martini.
Yeah, we're gonna do both at once. Um, how were the vibes yesterday, Zach?
Vibes are great. I mean, obviously the offense kind of was a little bit sluggish yesterday, but they came through and it mattered most, and they were able to pull out a win. And the pitching, once again, phenomenal. Yesterday, Griffin Canning wasn't his sharpest, but got battled through 4+ innings. I think four and a third exactly, or four and two thirds. I think just one run allowed. I think it was a inherited run by Budo that scored. And again, sharp. I mean, it's tough pitching in those elements. It's a little bit wet outside. It's
Yeah, it
cold.
was
It's
very cold.
windy.
I think
I
by
mean,
the
this is a
ninth
guy that
inning it was
came
like
from
the
it's
ninth
in
inning
the
was like
mid
43
40s.
degrees. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's a guy that comes from the West Coast, so he's probably used to some nicer climate out there. So to see him come here and be solid in his first start here at home in City Field was good to see. The bullpen locked it down. Budo to Brazabon to Diaz, who
hmm
was nailed. Got a little dicey with some soft hits, but he was able to shut the door. And then our boys Winker and Lindor came through. Winker tied it up in the bottom of the eighth, and Lindor with the walk off.
Jesse
Uh,
fucking Winker. We
yeah,
are on. I'm not a big hockey guy, but obviously you do know on the channel we do have sunny days at the
Sundays at the
racetrack.
track.
We are on Ovechkin watch right now. They're playing the Islanders. They're actually down 2-0 to the Islanders.
Oh
Um,
wow,
so I personally, I mean, I'm not a hockey guy. I don't want to see Ovechkin break the record against the Islanders. I'd rather see that happen to somebody else because
mm.
forever, forever
You're gonna
that
remember being
highlight film is going to be exactly against the
you're gonna be
Islanders.
immortalized.
Yeah. So I mean, if he does do it against the Islanders, I guess I hope the Islanders win. Um, but anyways, yeah, Jesse Winker, multiple. I think he had 3 extra base hits yesterday. He had two
Three.
triples. He had a double.
Yeah,
Um, he was left
funny.
on base. He was left on base more than once yesterday
Three
by
times, all 3 times.
by Vientos. That's a really big concern. And we'll touch on Vientos in a little bit, but give some flowers to Jesse Winker. Not a major signing this offseason. He was a guy that we traded for at the deadline, and I
Yeah,
think you really saw like this was a guy we've wanted forever, and not so much because of his ability, because I think he's a solid player. He hasn't had an incredible career by any means, but he's been hated by the Mets. He's been a Mets killer. So finally, when you get a Mets killer on the Mets, it's always kind of a good feeling, and he
especially when
always
they come
kind of
through for you.
absolutely, and that's what I want to say about him is he has really like I said, his numbers don't jump off the page, but we saw it at the end of last year. We saw it in the playoffs last year. It almost feels like the moment is never too big for him.
Yeah,
Like
he's
it
come
really
up with some
doesn't
really big
matter
moments.
if it's an at bat in April or an at bat in October. It seems like he attacks it the same way.
Yeah,
And like I said, the stats are never going to jump off the page, but the guy's clutch. The
yeah,
guy's absolutely clutch.
yeah.
And when your guys like Lindor, is going to get off to his usual slow start, a guy like Soto that comes in, big free agent, a lot of money. He's kind of struggling a little here at the plate. We just spoke about Vientos.
Yeah,
This is when you need the guys like Alonso, like Winker, like
yeah,
Marte to step up
yeah.
and produce for
Torrens
you.
too, someone to talk
Torrens,
about.
absolutely. So, um, I love Jesse Winker, and
Yeah,
I'm so happy that this is all happening. But good for him yesterday. Good for
yeah.
him.
I personally I love Jesse Winker, the vibes, the presence he brings to the team, and what he does. Like it just his every his interactions with the fans are great. And I know it was a bit of a divisive signing, and not to like just drag on about Jesse Winker. We have a lot to get to, but I know it was a bit of a divisive signing. Some people loved it, some people hated it, but like Matt said, the numbers aren't going to jump off the page. Honestly, they're going to jump off the page for the wrong reasons. He doesn't have great numbers as a Met, but he's come up in some big moments. Yesterday, I know it's an
Mhm.
April game, but all games matter. All 162 matter. It took us until 161 to get into the playoffs last year, so they all fucking matter. And
and
Jesse
it's
Winker last year in the playoffs, I mean, Pete Alonso's home run did it, but then he scored again. He scored to give us an extra cushion, which is always nice to have. So he's come up in big moments, some memorable moments, and this is one of them.
and yeah, I mean, you just said it like it's not October, right? It's only
No,
April, but these wins are as important as they are in September, right?
100%.
They count the same, and especially when we're at a point in time where the Atlanta Braves just can't seem to find their footing. They finally
Nah.
got their first win, I guess,
Friday?
Friday.
Yeah.
So you want to take advantage of this, right? You
Oh, yeah.
want to take advantage of this time where you could win some of these games, and honestly, April and some of May is really just figuring yourself out and
100%.
kind of seeing what works and what doesn't. And for the Mets, it's this pitching staff, right? Like this was the ultimate question going into the season. Do we have enough firepower in the pitching staff? And I think most of us really weren't too confident in what we
I
had.
was.
I know you were. You were.
And they're looking kind of smart right now. I don't know.
Absolutely. And
Second best ERA in baseball to the Dodgers.
this is going to be a important year, I think, for David Stearns, because I think this year is really going to show whether you're going to see him make a significant
Trade.
trade or investment in the
Yeah.
pitching staff, or is he just going to continue to do this where he finds these diamonds in the rough, and he's really getting all the lemon. He's getting a lot of lemonade out of these lemons. So,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, he stuck his neck out there in this offseason, signing guys like Griffin Canning, expecting him to be a part of this rotation. Frankie Montas, who's injured, but then really building up some pieces in that bullpen, re-signing Ryan Stanek, AJ Minter signing, and then Huascar Brazoban, someone who I want to give some flowers to, who's been really good so far this season, who we traded for at last deadline, who wasn't good and didn't look like a significant piece and very well could be that for us this year. And without the big firepower in the rotation, the bullpen has looked tremendous. Tremendous. The only weak link that we really have at this point in time, 9 games in the season, is Danny Young. And that's going to be replaced by Daniel Nunez very soon, who's down in the minors rehabbing.
And actually, speaking of rehabbing, you had just brought it up before the show. Matt Allen, Mets prospect from, I don't even know when, 2017, 2018?
A while ago. A while ago. I think
long time
was it
ago.
the same year as Beatty?
No, I don't think so. Beatty was 19. I think he was before. I don't know.
No.
I want to say he was like a year
It's been a
before
while.
Beatty.
First time pitching in over 2,000 days, 2,045, something like that. And through 2/3 innings, no runs, I think a couple hits and 5 strikeouts. So, and he was getting that fastball up in the high 90s. So, I mean, even if this is as far as he goes, it's got to be such a good feeling to get back on the field for him. But if they can get anything out of him, if he can be something for the Mets, that would just be the biggest icing on the cake possible at this point, So just good for him. Good to see him actually get out there.
Good for him. A lot of guys would not have would probably
stuck around this long.
Away.
Yeah.
And another thing I wanted to say, we were talking about the bullpen. A lot of credit needs to go to this Mets organization too, because of how they've handled Jose Butto. A lot of teams would have probably kept him out there as a starter after what had happened last year. And, by necessity, he was pushed into the bullpen, and I think he's thrived there. There were some inconsistencies as a starter, but he has really thrived in that Trevor Williams role. And a lot of teams, I feel like the Yankees are an organization like this, where they would have said, no, you're a starter. We need you in the rotation. So you're going to start the season in AAA, and we'll see where it goes. The Mets identified what he was really good at. And it does suck for him to a degree, because if you're a pitcher, you don't want to be a reliever. No pitcher comes into the league saying, I want to be a reliever. Everybody wants to be a starter, and it just doesn't work that way. And the money in MLB, right, in terms of pitching, is as a starter. It's not as a reliever. So, I'd like to see them, when it comes time to kind of make that decision on him, I'd like to see the Mets properly compensate him for what he's done. But, just right now, that's a true team player. That's a guy that's, hey, by any means necessary, whatever they need me to do, I can do. So credit to him and credit to the Mets for identifying that and keeping him in that role, because I say it all the time, a lot of seasons come down to those swing guys in the bullpen that could come in and pitch 2, 3, 4 innings at a time, multiple times a week. And it's a very awkward position to be in because you're not the setup guy, you're not the closer, and you're not a starter. And you're coming in, like I said, at awkward times where
You're a bridge guy.
you're a bridge guy, and you're doing it more than once a week. As a starter, you're pretty much going
Two, three
once a week.
times a week. Yeah.
I wouldn't even say 3 times. I mean, it's really maybe two.
Oh, as a
times
starter? Oh, I'm
as a
saying
starter.
as this bridge guy, you're going 2, 3 times a week, expected to go 2, 3 innings, and the Mets. I mean, with the rotation the way it is, I mean, Senga, who's not going to be able to go deep into games right at this moment in time. Other guys, Clay Holmes, Griffin Canning, guys that probably need some time to build up that arm strength to go deeper into games. Having multiple guys that can give you multiple innings,
Yeah.
like Max Kranick, Jose Budo, Huascar Brazaman, Daniel Nunez when he comes back, that can offer this length really helps alleviate some of the tax on that bullpen because you don't have to go out and throw all your A guys out in one day. You can go Minter Diaz late and have one of these bridge guys get right to Minter or right to Stanek into Diaz. You could even give Diaz a day off and have it be Minter Stanek at the back end or Garrett back there. So to have that really is like a built-in rest for this bullpen that isn't rest in the sense that your pitchers are going deep. It's the fact that you have guys that can go multiple innings and keep your late inning guys fresh.
Yeah. And especially in an era where
Get this mic a little bit closer.
We're very concerned with pitch count and how much guys are throwing and how often they're throwing. To have these guys in the bullpen that could eat innings and eat it at important times. I mean, there were times last year where Buto, I don't know if he's done it yet this year, but Buto was asked to close games last year. So I think asking him to do all of these different roles is going to really aid in the progression of him as a pro ball player to begin with. To be put in multiple different situations and come out on top more often than not is very impressive because pitchers are creatures of habit. We learned that when Max Scherzer came over here and he talked about his routine on a day that he's got to start and all the things that he does. When you're the swing guy, you don't know. You have no idea if you're pitching today or not.
Yeah.
And to just kind of be sitting in the bullpen and someone looks over and all right, get up. These typical relievers, Brazaban, and they have a good idea of when they're going to pitch.
Yeah.
But a guy like Buto could pitch 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
And once again, be asked to throw multiple innings. So a lot of credit to him. I love him. He's probably one of my favorite players on this team.
Yeah, no, I'm a big Budo fan too. But not to talk about the bullpen too much. Let's get into some of this offense and what we've seen so far through the first 8 games. It's been a bit inconsistent. But you kind of expect that with some of these players early on in the season. Obviously take it all with a grain of salt because it's such a small sample size. One big game could balloon your average from 150 like Lindor's at right now to close to 300. He goes out and has 3-4 hits today. I mean, his average, you're going to forget about a slow start. Soto, who's, again, his numbers aren't jumping off the page, but he's having some really good at bats out there. He's getting a little bit unlucky with some hard hit balls that are finding gloves instead of finding the seats or finding some open grass out there. I wouldn't think about it too much. Obviously, you want to see them pile on some runs like they did in that second game in Miami, but that's going to come in due time. We have so much firepower, and having guys like Peak it off to a really good start. Luis Torrens. Luis Torrens. And, seeing him fill in for Francisco Alvarez has been great. And then Starling Marte, who's been a shock, who's been playing pretty well himself. So to have guys like this kind of step up when your big bats aren't hitting, obviously Pete is one of them, but he is. So, but to see the guys like that at the bottom of the order produce is big. It's really big.
And, we haven't seen much of Soto's bat, but what we are seeing is him working counts. He's finding a way to get on base. I mean, yesterday's walk was much bigger than it looks, right? Because that essentially, that's what tied the game, right?
Yeah.
Jesse Winker, that was a great triple, but if Soto isn't there on first base,
he's not scoring.
He's not scoring, and and we're maybe talking, about just trying to win the series today instead of sweep the series. So, yeah, it's and I don't worry about a guy like Soto. Maybe it's
Nah.
like, maybe I sound arrogant saying it, but like, there's a reason this guy was paid this kind of money. He'll figure it out. Lindor, will always figure it out toward, May. Where I'm really upset, and I'll kind of leave it to you here because you're going to get more in depth. He's your guy, right? Mark Vientos
Mark
is your guy.
Vientos.
It just looks like he's trying to do too much, and it's
Yeah,
spilling
100%.
onto his defense. I mean, he was never a great defender to begin with, but that game, I think it was against the Marlins, right? That third game against the
Yeah,
Marlins.
2 errors or something.
I mean, Lindor makes 2 errors. He's going to shake.
That's
it off.
once in 1,000 games you're going to see something like that from
A
Lindor.
guy like Vientos, who still needs to fight to play every day at third. Let's be honest. Like, that's kind of, he'll always be in the lineup. But if we see these struggles continue, me personally, and I guess what helps him is that Beatty's not really hitting either. But
Beatty and Acuna.
they will find a long-term solution at third base if Vientos continues to struggle here.
Yeah, for an extended period of time too. And I mean, obviously it has not looked pretty. The defense has been suspect. I mean, it was bad in Miami. And the bat just hasn't been there. But the way I look at it is Houston and the beginning of that Miami series, it was a lot of swinging out of the zone. But then you kind of saw it in that third game. I know I don't think he had any hits, but better bats. He wasn't striking out at those pitches outside the zone. He was spitting on them. He was hitting some pitches, getting them in on the fists and hitting them, easy fly balls. But to see him lay off of that, that's a step in the right direction. And he'll start finding them. The balls will start finding the middle of the plate, and he'll start barreling them up. I mean, last night, 3 strikeouts. It was ugly, but he did have a nice single. Wish they could have scored there in I think it was the bottom of the 7th, but they didn't. But it's going to come together for him. I see it. You kind of see the gears turning and starting to look into some sort of positive direction. I mean, I might be a little bit extra hopeful than others, and rightfully so. He's my guy, but I think it'll all come together for him. I think he's too talented not to be a big producer in this lineup. And I think an off day is coming for him soon. If it continues to struggle, I think an off day is going to be necessary. Get him out of the lineup, let him go to the cage, work on his at-bats, and just sit on the bench and have a good time with the team. Hopefully he'll win. Hopefully get to just take a breath, and not have to worry about, am I going to be the reason we win or lose? No, you're going to sit there, you're going to enjoy the game, and you're going to be able to just get out there fresh the next day. So it'll come. I mean, the lineup's too good not to produce, and eventually he's going to start seeing pitches he can hit. He's going to drive them.
It's just, I think it's just a lot of, I think you had said this. It's a lot of piling on.
Yeah.
It's constantly coming up to the plate with a runner in scoring position. I mean, that's got to be his bread and butter. For this Mets team to have a deep playoff run, and he
was a big part of it last year. I mean, he was phenomenal.
He was. And the only way, because let's be honest here, barring some major setback in October, if the Mets are going to be in the NLCS again, it's going to be in LA, right? You're going to have to go through LA to go to the World Series. And there is no way this Mets team can overcome that without Mark Vientos playing what he
good baseball,
playing his good baseball, right? And it's this team can only go so far. It's great to have a Soto, it's great to have a Lindor. Those guys are fantastic, but those are more of table setters for you, right? Especially now that you got Juan Soto, you're not really looking for Lindor to put 30 balls over the wall. If he does it, great. You're looking to see Lindor get on base. You're looking to see Soto get on base. And we're looking at guys like Pete
Alonso, Vientos,
Nimmo to drive these guys.
Nimmo has been great too.
Nimmo has been great. So I Vientos had a great season last year. Overcame a lot, came in late and really produced. But he's not really proven, right? Like he had one really good season and a really good postseason. But that's it. And as unpretty, I know it's not. He hasn't looked pretty in the majors, but Brett Beatty is still here. Luis Angel Acuna is here. These are guys that can play third, that can play second, and I just don't see a world like. I think Vientos is going to get some run. Okay, and I think the best thing for him would be sit down for a day or two.
Yeah,
Right?
we'll see how he does today. If he goes out and he's 3 for 4, drives in a couple runs,
Then you
bashes
start
one
to
over
feel
the
better.
wall.
I think
And then at the
if you see these struggles continue, I
see a
I don't
lineup
think
with Beatty and Acuna in there as opposed to Vientos
yeah,
a day or two.
yeah, yeah. And I'm hopeful. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think we'll see much regression, but I also don't think that Mendoza is gonna watch this all year.
No,
You know
him
what I
and
mean? Like
Stearns are going to be ready to give different looks. They don't want to. They don't want to run the same lineup out there with Vientos struggling, and he's going to be your run producer in that bottom half of the lineup, in that middle to bottom half of the lineup.
yeah.
If he's batting fifth, sixth, he's either going to be setting the table for guys
if
behind him, or he's going to be driving in guys that get on base in the in the
if
middle of the order. So
Vientos hits in those two situations where he left Winker on yesterday, you're talking about a 5-2, 6-2 ball game,
yeah, much
right?
different ball game.
Which looks a lot different than sweating it out in the bottom of the ninth or whatever, the top of the ninth with Edwin Diaz on the mound, and and big heads up play by Lindor yesterday. That run. Who scored from third? Jose Siri.
Jose Siri. I
He
mean,
had,
you saw Lindor there. I mean, he got. You saw what was
it was
it?
the first pitch.
Siri, yes, and
The
Siri
very
drew a
first pitch.
walk, and then Jose or Luis Torrens, sorry, Luis Torrens had the single that moved Siri over to third, and Lindor wasn't sitting around waiting for something. He got a hit pitch. He knew he could drive into the outfield, get it deep enough where he could just get Jose Siri in. He didn't see a meatball over the middle and said, "Let me just try to swing out of my shoes and put it over the fence. Let me just go hit something in the outfield. Let Jose Siri score. He's fast at third. He didn't need to get that deep. I think he got it out there deep into the gap.
That's what's so impressive about Lindor, how Lindor manipulated that situation. Nobody else did, right?
Yeah.
Lindor was stepping up to the plate, but he was manipulating that at bat. And, this is an unselfish guy. This is a guy that doesn't care about his average, doesn't care about his numbers so much. He's looking to win the ball game, right? Driving that run any way possible, and that's what he did. He got under it just enough to put it far enough into the outfield. For a guy like Siri, and I honestly think if that was like shallow right field, center field, wherever it was caught, I still think Siri's going there. He's
he's fast.
So
he didn't have to slide. He was standing up. He ran right through home plate.
So fantastic at bat.
Good game by Lindor too. Leadoff double, had a really good game, and I know the Astros series was ugly. I don't think he had a hit in the Astros series, but he's stepped up a bit. I think he has a hit in now 3 or 4 straight games. And it's looking a lot better. The looks are looking a lot better now. I don't think he's struck out in 2-3 games now. And you can see the wheels are turning. Lindor's starting to get going a little bit earlier than normal for us as Met fans. He hasn't had a good start yet. And I know the numbers aren't pretty, but the at-bats are there. He's getting some hits, and he's working some walks through, something that Lindor doesn't always do. So it hopefully with Juan Soto, and if Pete Alonso continues to stay hot with them behind him, Lindor's going to keep seeing pitches to hit, which other teams don't want to have happen, because Lindor's a phenomenal baseball player in his own right. So, but you don't want to have Soto and Alonso beat you, so you're gonna have to try to get someone out.
Right.
And Lindor being at the top of the order, he's always gonna get those looks.
I mean, you look at this lineup top to bottom. If there's any team that could compete with the Dodgers, it's us. And Philly's got some bangers, and Atlanta does too. I mean, I know Atlanta's off to that slow start, but
they're hurt. They're really hurt.
They're going to figure it out. Maybe they won't be a playoff team this year, but they'll be
No
over
team
500.
No team has started a season 0-7 and made the playoffs, and they're 1-7 now, 1-8, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're so banged up. I mean, not to start talking about the Braves, but Acuna's still not playing. What's his name?
Spencer hasn't
Spencer. No, he's actually no. You might be right. I'm not 100% sure, but what's his name? Jurickson Profar, Schwellenbach, yeah, but Jurickson Profar is out with the PED suspension, and Raciel Iglesias but some another pitcher, he's out injured. So then it's one of their starters. It's another starter, so he's injured now. So that team's sad to see. I mean, it's nice.
It's not. Fuck them.
It's sad to see for the players. It's sad to see for the players get hurt. It's not sad to see the Braves. It's not sad to see the Braves struggling, but it's sad to see players get hurt. But that being said, it's good for the Mets. You need to create a cushion, because that team's too good not to finish above 500. But don't let them beat you. Don't let them beat you in the standings at the end of the season.
So what's our Who's pitching today? I think David Peterson, right?
David Peterson versus I don't know some guy from Toronto's young. I think he's only pitched like 2 seasons in the league, but David Peterson come out there, fire a good game. You know he started the season well with a great first start. Looked great in spring training. Had a great season last year. Let's just keep piling it on and continue to grow because he's someone who until last season he wasn't a given in this rotation. You know, so it'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to see the offense get out to an early start too and score some runs early for him. Let him
Yeah,
get comfortable.
definitely. And what a confidence boost it could be if they sweep the Blue Jays, right?
Oh yeah,
Because Blue Jays are a decent team. I
they're a
think
good team.
I think they're gonna fall short of expectations this year. I think they're gonna be selling at the deadline, but there are names on that roster. I mean, Chris Bassett last night took us behind the
Lights
woodshed
out.
pretty much. Like he was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
That guy's still got it.
Bo
Um,
Bichette, Vladdy Jr.
mhm.
I mean,
It's
Anthony Santander. I mean, they got some damn good players there. They have too many good players not to be a good team. Doesn't mean they're going to be great and make the playoffs, but they're gonna be right there basically until the end,
yeah,
fighting with the Yankees, the Orioles, and the Red Sox. So,
absolutely. What else you got for today?
nothing much. I mean, just getting ready for this game. Then we got the. I think it's the Marlins next. I think do we start tomorrow? Or is it a day off tomorrow? Let me check on that real quick.
No, tomorrow's not a day off. They're playing.
No, it's not. So we play the Marlins Sangas tomorrow, and we got the series against the Marlins. Hopefully, we can win today, carry a sweep into a series against the Marlins team, who's young and pesky. Oddly enough, I mean, they got some decent players on that team, and they got some good pitching too. So hopefully, today's just a way to build confidence, sweep a good team, and carry it over into a team we should be, always winning the series against, and hopefully get another sweep here at home for the fans.
Yeah, that would be really nice. So, let's see. I'd like to see the offense slowly just get a little more consistent. I feel like
Yep,
night after night, it's one guy bailing the team out, whether it be Alonso or Terens, Winker last night. So I'd just like to see a little
everyone
more
produce.
consistency. I want to say they're like, I heard the other day it was like they were like 4 and 35 with runners in scoring position on the year, which it's
Yeah, that
probably
was
better now. I think that was
second or
like a
third
Friday
game in
or Thursday.
Miami. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was in that series against Miami. I remember hearing that too. So look, we don't need a game where they're going to go put up 15 runs. I'd love that,
No,
but
no.
just have guys produce. I want to see a couple hits from Lindor, a couple hits from Soto. Have a few guys driving runs in that top and middle of the order. See Vientos get a couple hits, maybe.
Hmm.
That'd be nice. To see everyone produce top to bottom would be nice. No dead spots, no constant leaving runners on base. Let's get string together some at bats and really carry some momentum into this Miami series.
Is Brett Beatty in the lineup today?
He is. So the lineup's out. It is your usual Lindor, Soto,
Alonzo,
Alonso,
Nimmo.
Nimmo, Winker. Again, great, rightfully so. He should be getting that start after last night. Vientos, Beatty, Siri, and then Hayden Senger. He's getting the start. Luis Torrens is a bit banged up. He's taking some balls off the forearms and the shins. So he's a little bit banged up. Hopefully he's back in there against Miami. But these catchers are going to get banged up. They're going to have to miss a day or two here. That's
Springer
why.
is not playing today.
No, he
He
looked
got
he
hurt.
looked he looked hurt pretty
Yeah.
bad on that triple by Winker. He ran right into the wall. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's out for a bit.
Santander is going to be playing right field, so hopefully
Ooh,
that's something the Mets could take advantage of. He is not a plus defender at all.
no.
And also, we did forget to mention this. Big flowers given to Edwin Diaz yesterday. I think he got Santander out for that last out of that inning. He had a runner in scoring position. I think he had a runner on
It was the
third.
second out. He struck out the ninth guy. Bobacek got on with a single. Vladdy had a dribbler that Diaz kind of booted a bit. I
Yeah.
don't know if he was going to get anyone, but it was like one of those little dribblers that kind of just was working away from him and wasn't able to do much with it. Then he went and struck out Santander, and then I think it was Billy Wagner's kid who he finished the inning on.
Really?
He's the DH for Toronto, yeah. So, that's Diaz for you. It's gonna be a roller coaster ride with him in the ninth. But you don't want anyone else holding that ball in the bottom of the ninth,
No.
or top of the ninth, closing that game out for you. So he's gonna let his hits. He's gonna walk some guys, but then he's always gonna come in with that wicked slider and that heater that just is an absolute fireball and be able to get guys out at a moment's notice.
All right, Zach. What else we got?
That's about it. I think we covered all our bases here.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to
Brief show.
figure out some sort of a schedule
Yeah.
of when I could go live. It's hard in my work schedule now with the baby, but we're gonna figure something out. So thank God we were able to get on today. Thank you
Yep.
everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you when we see you. Stay tuned to the
Yep.
socials.
Thanks, everyone.
We're gonna post that
Stevie.
live.
You really see how Sunday is the
Mac.
track. Let's go, Mets.